Hey, what's up with it, man? It's White Boy Lockdown Radio. Back with another one. All right, let's this video here. I'm gonna tell a quick story about somebody that I actually knew all the way that I was in high school with. We were getting in trouble back then, and then kind of after high school went our separate ways, but would link up here and then literally we didn't land in the same prison, but we landed at a reception center, and I hadn't seen him for a long time, and we were passing through. When you get sentenced in Florida to go to prison, you have only so many receptions that you can go to, you know what I mean? They got one in Miami, they have one in Orlando, and there's one in the Panhandle, and I believe Washington, Orlando, Miami. I believe there's one other one. Then there's like a medical type reception where it's kind of it's a reception where if you have medical issues or whatever, you would go there, and they'll decide like if they keep you there or if you're able to go to a camp. And a lot of times if something serious happens to people in prison, or if you need a surgery or something, or if you get cut up bad, or if you get messed up bad, you'll go to that medical camp. But where I was out of, we would go to Orlando, okay? And Orlando reception is not that bad of a prison, to be honest with you. Both times I went to prison, I was trying to stay there because, when you get sentenced to prison, they are going to send you to, the closest reception. So, from where I got sentenced out of prison to, Orlando was, a little bit over an hour away. So of course, I would want to stay there for my entire bid, and they do it by regions and stuff. It's just the same as, people in, like Broward County, Florida. They're going to go to South Florida reception, which is in Miami. They're going to want to stay there, and sometimes you can. A good example of this is if you go to the playlist, dudes I've been locked up with. I had my bunkie stop over, and we did an interview to catch up. He literally was at the prison. He went to that prison, Orlando, which I'm speaking about, and he got housed there. Every now and then they'll keep you because it's a transit prison, but they need inmates with time to put in the kitchen, to mow the grass, all that. They have to have their facility ran by inmates, and it'd be way too hard for them to assign, dudes that are just passing through, because you're only at a reception like 2 weeks. You could be there as long as a month, sometimes a couple days, but you're not really there more than a month, and that goes each time that you pass through it. Okay, when you first go to prison, you're gonna go to a reception center, and if you end up getting transferred, you put a transfer in to go to a different prison, you're gonna pass through a reception and go to where you get transferred for. But anyhow, when I was at Orlando, I'm just coming from county jail. I'm trying to hit the canteen, and you have a lot more rec. You have a lot more freedom in prison than you do jail, believe it or not. Anybody will tell you that. But I'm hitting the pound. I'm checking it out. And this is my second time around. I ran into a couple dudes that I knew from the street. Of course, you're gonna hang with them dudes because this is a prison before prison. So, you see people, you know what I mean? You just go from jail where the whole pod, to prison where, you don't know anybody, and it's a big population difference. So, as I'm in Orlando, just hanging out, just doing whatever routine I could, in this transition prison, before I went to my main camp. But I ran into a dude named Bo that I knew. He had caught a lot of time. the dude was always kind of shot out. But I also ran into a dude, Arab Danny, that I knew. You know, Arab Danny, you know, I went to high school with the dude. He was shot out. You know, we were always burning weed behind the portables and shit. We were always, you know, he would get in his trouble, I would get in my trouble. You know, he ended up getting expelled because of some craziness that I'm not even going to put on the internet. But you know, anyhow, when we go to prison, he's telling me about his case, how much time he got, and I'm doing the same. But he starts telling me about the person who told on him, okay, and how he got extra time. You know, what happened with him is, you know, we were both doing our things, getting rid of blues back in the day, and you know, it was a lot of money. You know, it was epidemic. You know what I mean? You know, I went through it with my addiction, but you know, I was doing my thing to feed my habit. You know, before I was, you know, heavily addicted, I was making money off the stuff. You know, but needless to say, he got set up, and he figured it out who set him up. And what he did was he put a post on Facebook, and he said the person's name that set him up, and he posted like a picture of a rifle or whatever have you next to it. You know, a lot of people don't know. You know, I'm gonna speak on this. You know, for the first time ever. But a lot of people don't know, man. I don't know how it is everywhere here in Florida. You know, if you're texting people, man, if you text people, you know, I got this for this much or this, and come by this and that. If you text that craziness, man, that's a second-degree felony. I'm sorry, that's a third-degree felony. You know, they label it as using a two-way device for, you know, illegal activity or whatever. You know, it's basically texting for a deal. You know, but that's what they do on the phone. You know, so he had already got hemmed up. Another thing is, you know, you know, down here, I don't know how it is, you know, nationwide or whatever, but you know, if somebody's telling on you, or you know that somebody snitched you out, if you apply pressure to that person and get caught for it, you know, if you get caught for it, that's called tampering with a witness. That's a second-degree felony. You know what I mean? That's a 15-year offense. So what he did was, he got set up, man. Somebody set him up. He was doing his thing with the blues, and it was a dude and a chick. I'm not going to say their name, obviously, but they got caught up, and they didn't want to do the time. They told on him to detectives. They snitched on him, and he had it in paperwork. He had it, you know, white and black, receipts, all that shit. But needless to say, he posted all this shit on Facebook, and you know, hey, look, the prosecutors brought that up in right in the courtroom, and it enhanced his sentence. You know, he got I'll never forget, man. He's telling me he got 20 years behind that because mostly of the threats. You know, he was doing his thing in the streets, which you're gonna get time for that. But when you're, you know, all these threats and stuff, you know, and I was just like, damn, it was crazy because I literally knew this dude from high school, you know, and multiple other times. And you know, I'll give you an example. When I was real bad out there, you know, I was hanging with him one day, and took the phone, and we were both just we you know, when you're having an addiction, you can't work, you know, you can't that you live and die for that. So we scrolled our contacts, just scrolled it down, and whoever it landed on, we were gonna go rob them. And hey, we did it. But statute of limitations is a mofo, so I can tell you that. It was a long time ago. But you know, that's the type of interactions I had with him since high school, you know. And you know, it's just crazy, man. He probably only would have done, I don't know, you know, depending how he handled it in court, he probably only would have got like 5 years, maybe 7 for the charges, just that. But you know, when you get portrayed by somebody, it's a tough thing to do. You know, he was just trying to expose them on Facebook, and hey, look, it bit them. You know, they got scared, And that tampering with a witness is real, man. I'm trying to tell you guys, man. And texting, man, that's crazy. You know, if you're doing that, if you're on that, it's a bad idea. You know, you're telling on yourself. You know, it's legal proof that you're doing it. You know what I mean? But listen, man, A-Rap Danny got 20 years behind that. You know, the other dude that I ran into when I was at the reception, this time in prison, the dude was he lost trial, and he had some crazy charges, but you know, he's looking at life himself. So it was crazy because, you know, I didn't have that much time. You know, nothing near them two dudes. So you had to downplay it. You know, one thing in prison you always have to do, you know, is especially if you get put in a dorm where the custody's high and people got a lot of time, you got to know how to downplay your amount of time. You know, it might sound stupid, but you really have to do that to survive. You know, nobody wants to hear if they got 20 years and they're around and they're in a pod or a dorm with other people with, you know, 15, 20 years. Nobody wants to know that you got 2, 3, 5 years. Nobody wants to know that. You know, they're going to hate on you, man. Hard. That's the politics of prison, man. And so you know, this wasn't my first go around, so I knew how to do it. But you know, I know the dude personally, you know, so he can kind of read me better. But you know, it was messed up, man. I'll never forget who did that. And I did make him a promise when I was in there to tell our mutual friends when I got out what was up. But listen, man, Facebook, dude, it's a no-go for me. It's done for me. It was one of the social media outlets or platforms or whatever you want to say that was hard to let go. But man, if you take a look outside of this story or outside of, you know, anything, man, you just take a hard look at, you know, these social media companies, man. You know, I've said it before on the channel, Social Dilemma, man. You have to check that movie out. You know, these social media companies, man, they are, you know, they have way too much yank and they have way too much power, and they are making money off you. They're making money off me. They're making money off anybody who literally gives them the time of day and goes on it just to scroll or you like or you post, whatever it is. You will, you know, you're feeding into the shit that they're doing out here. You know, you're financing it. You know, unless you use a VPN, or even that. You know, these people, you know, they're dictating, man. We just had a president. You know, a social media company said that he couldn't tweet. You know, and they pick and choose who they want to. And I know everybody watching this knows this, but it's just a reminder, man. It's just a story about a personal friend of mine, which I tied in because, hey, it is prison related. You know, this when he's telling me the story, I'm in prison with him. Okay, you know, so, but you know, these social media companies, man, you really have to. They make you pick and choose. Okay, I just said, hey, I had to let go of my Facebook. Most people can't let go of Facebook. It's hard. You know how many people that I know personally died on there? You know, you have to download all those photos and this and that, and it's tough to do. It's not easy. But even on Instagram, I have an IG, and sometimes I feel like it's a job because I have, you know, YouTube followers, and it's the right thing to do to have a Instagram, but it's almost like a job. I feel compelled, like I have to post stuff to there, you know, but I just have it for a means of communication, DMs and stuff, because when you do YouTube, people want to collab, do interviews or this or that or whatever it is. You know, you communicate with your subs, but it's almost like a job to me, and that might sound silly, but I wish I could do it without them. You know, so for me, it's just YouTube. I have the IG, which is Facebook, but you know, hey, look, it's better than Facebook and IG, I guess. And I have a Twitch, but that's just when I all my Twitches is when I play video games. I put the webcam on there and talk some shit. And if anybody wants to come in and talk shit with me, they can. But hey, man, these people, they have too much power. You know, it's crazy, man. And if you didn't know about the text thing, texting people about dope and this and that, if you didn't know about that, it's real, man. I'll give you an example of that. When people get arrested where I'm from, where I moved from, where I live now, and everywhere I've moved in Florida, if you get arrested, man, anybody has gone through that process, they're gonna go through your phone. It's the jail employees that do that, and they turn it over. If you got all that madness and you don't know how to delete or clear your history or turn your location off, if you're not up on that and routinely doing it, you might go for a DUI or a shoplifting or whatever and come out with a felony. And don't think for 1 second that on these messenger or DM or whatever else, that them people are not looking spying. They've already been to Congress behind it and this and that. But hey, well, we're not going to go too political with this. I'm just giving you a personal experience, a personal prison story between me and Arab Danny. It has directly to do with Facebook, and reason why I deleted it. And hey man, I try to keep everybody up on game. I try to use my voice for whatever I know. You might be way ahead of me, you might be way behind me, but wherever we're at, we gotta keep winning. So on that one, man, stay out, stay safe, and stay solid, man. Check the merch out, check the description for all the links, and appreciate everybody, man. As you can see, the quality's getting better, the channel's growing. I listen to all y'all, has since day one, and I always will. Just not on Facebook. I'm out.